Good morning and welcome to Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. My name is Edward James Carey. Welcome to Praxis Living, where I create content to help you create the life that you desire. Today is session 26 of my $1 million journey. I am glad to be back after a long weekend. I am still trying to get out of my latest position, if you remember. Let's go take a look. This latest position, last week I bought 10 shares at $31.40. I bought another 10 shares at $31.44. I'm looking for a close on these 20 shares. The close that I need is $31.92 in order to make a 1.5% increase on that position. I'm not going to play around this morning. I'm just going to leave it set at $31.92. Pre-market is showing $31.04. Friday's close was $31.22, so we're actually below Friday's close. But I am hopeful that in the pre-market this morning, perhaps we will see enough volatility in order to reach that $31.92 line to allow me out of my current position. I also have capital of around $320 in order to either use later in the day to buy maybe 10 shares at a lower cost, or it's a risky play. I could actually throw it in to dollar cost average my position on the 20 shares even lower. The problem with that is that at $31.06, it doesn't make a very effective play in order to do that. So I'm likely just going to sit tight this morning, watch the market, and wait for that order to sell. I need some capital back so that I can move on with my plan to begin dollar cost averaging my way out of some of these other positions. I do not like the fact that all of this capital has been tied up in all of these shares for over a month now. I want to start regaining some of that capital. I want to start getting it back in my trade balance. And I want to start using that capital to leverage more and more of those shares that I have held in the market out. I would like to accomplish 10 to 15 good trades that are profitable this week. Hopefully with dollar cost averaging some positions out as well to get 10 to 15, maybe even 20 shares out of the market and see if I can regain that amount of capital before the weekend. We will see how things go in just under 3 minutes when the markets open. Stay tuned. All right, the markets have officially opened. It is 6:30 a.m. Let's see where shares of AI go today. Early morning share volume is low. We're at 212,000 shares on the opening bell, which is not a lot of volume. And we have a share value hanging out at $31.14. Looks like we're getting hit with an early morning sell-off rather than a buying run this morning. Now, if you remember last week, at least the last 2 days of the week, Thursday and Friday, markets were so low on volume with shares of AI that the value basically went sideways almost 2 days in a row. It slowly inched itself up from a low of $28 and something cents, but there was no heavy volatility. There was no real place to make effective trades. The markets just were kind of consolidated, moving sideways. I don't know if that pattern is going to continue this week. I do know that earnings reports are scheduled to come out either today or tomorrow. And that might be one of the reasons for the hold-off. I don't know. Shares of AI going through a significant sell-off right now. It is 2 minutes to 7 in the morning. We're getting close to that time where shares could potentially bottom out right around 7:15 to 7:30 a.m. I'm going to set up a holding pattern to see if I can buy 10 shares at a low and hopefully catch an upward correction. I'm looking to catch 10 new shares at or below the cost of $30.20. This will allow me the option to do two things: either make a small profit on 10 shares moving forward in the day, or to try to get enough of a low point to dollar cost average some of my remaining 20 shares out of the market through dollar cost averaging. I'll figure out which I'm going to do shortly. All right, it looks like the market is starting to move sideways again. However, at 7 a.m., it is too early to buy in here. I don't think the bottom's coming for another 20 to 30 minutes. As I suspected, the sell-off is not done yet. That was just a temporary slowdown on the way down. And that kind of call comes with a bit more experience. I've been watching this same pattern now for weeks, where it drops and it looks like it stopped dropping, and then I accidentally buy in right there on that first shelf, only to ride the shares on a continuing descent. And so that's why I felt a couple of moments ago that, you know what, the drop is not done, hold off. And sure enough, now we're back down, almost dropping below $30 per share again. Well, today, if there is a bottom and if there is a rebound, I want to catch it at the bottom, not 1/3 of the way down. Here we go again with what looks like an upward correction. 7:05 a.m. is still a bit early for the bottom. I think I'll buy in here, take a risk. All right, I just picked up 10 shares at $30.35. Now, let me do the following. Let me take the 10 shares that I purchased at $31.44. Let me add the 10 shares I just purchased at $303.46. And let's divide that by 20, and we get a share value of $30.90. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a line at $30.90, and that line represents the break-even point where I can sell not just the 10 shares that I just picked up, but I can sell 20 shares at a break-even cost. Now, if I want to make a profit, then I'm looking at $31.37 for a 1.5% profit. Now, that's not unreasonable, but $31.37 is lower than $31.92. Maybe I can regain 10 shares here shortly. We'll see. All right, so there are no rapid movements on the market. I am going to spend some quiet time in the morning, and I will check back in 30 to 60 minutes to see what is going on. I have not committed my sell order. I've left it open-ended, so either the markets will continue climbing and I will come back and close my sell position, or they'll move sideways, in which case I miss nothing, or they'll continue to turn around and go down. And if that happens, well, then that happens. But either way, I'm going to go enjoy some quiet time, and I will be back soon. Stay tuned. We'll see how this trade plays out. Okay, I am back. It is 20 minutes after 8 in the morning. Let's have a look and see how things are going. All right, so currently share values are at $30.97. And my break-even point to sell 10 shares that I purchased this morning at $30.35, but also to dollar cost average these 10 shares at $31.44, that break-even line is $30.90. So for the current moment, I could get out of this trade and break even, plus make a tiny, tiny profit on 20 shares. Though I'm looking at the activity and I see that we are slowly, it is an up and down kind of day with a sideways consolidation, but also a slight increase over time in the upward direction. So based on what I'm seeing, I think that I am going to let my position sit for a little bit longer and see if I can get this next line of $31.38. There's no guarantee that shares will go up that high. I am taking a risk at this point. So I am going to, even though I can get out of this position with 20 shares, I'm going to give it a little bit more time and see what happens over the next little bit. Stay tuned, I will be back soon. All right, so just a small update. I've decided to increase my risk a little bit. And so what I've done is, instead of trying to dollar cost average 20 shares for a total of $30.90, I'm now actually dollar cost averaging all 30 shares. My 10 shares at $31.44, my 10 at $31.40, and my 10 at $30.35. That new dollar cost average is $31.07. So I've now moved my minimum sell line to $31.07. And I've also calculated a 1.5% profit on that position of 30 shares, and that comes out to $31.54. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a limit sell order at $31.54. I'm going to set 30 shares on sale at $31.54, and I'm going to lock that sale in. All right, so when share value increases to $31.54 at some point in the day, I will recover not 10 shares that I purchased this morning, but I will recover 30 shares of capital back, and I will have a 1.5% increase on the total amount of that capital. And right now I'm going to leave this on the market for a little while. It might take the whole morning, it might take till the afternoon, but there is a good possibility that we could reach that $31.54 value today. And so that's my play. I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to see where we land later in the day. As long as we are above $31.07, I know that I can liquidate all 30 shares and recover my capital. But I would also like to make some profit on the trade at the same time. So I will go and enjoy my morning. I'll go get some exercise, and I will be back later in order to see how this risk and this trade plays out today. Stay tuned, I'll be back soon. All right, it is 10:54 in the morning. I am back. Let us check what is going on today. All right, so share values continued to move completely flatline sideways, bouncing up and down from $31.07 back down to $30.70. And only recently did it actually break $31.07. $31.07 is the break-even point for me to be able to sell all 30 shares and recover the capital. But break-even is not what I want. I want to do better than breaking even. I want a profit on my trade as well. So I'm going to extend this $31.07, and I'm also going to extend this $31.54. So currently I am just above the break-even point at $31.15. It's difficult to say what's going to happen. I mean, the market has been moving sort of sideways all morning, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here for a little while, monitoring this, and see how close I can get to that line of $31.54. and perhaps just sell my order manually. Well, the good news is that with every cent that I see the share value increase, it widens the gap from my minimum sell position of $31.08, currently at $31.24. I like to see that buffer there. That's like a safety net, so that if it looks like things are going to turn around and come back down, it gives me a little bit of time to respond and close my order. But currently, I am sitting good at this level, 31.26 now. I am in profit, so if I close this trade right now, I know that not only do I recover 30 shares out of the market, but I also get them at a little bit of a profit. I'm going to just hold on patiently and see if we can slowly work our way up to realize a full 1.5% gain on this trade at the same time. So far, so good. It looks like it's just making a nice, easy stairway upward. Oh yeah, 31.44 now. We're within 10 cents. This is a really interesting situation. I'm sitting here so close to the price that I want to sell at, within 10 cents per share. But also, at this time of day, it's 12 minutes after 11 in the morning. And any time between 11 and 12 o'clock, waves of green orders could come into the market. I mean, look at this one back here. 14,000 shares. That happened about 15 minutes ago. So it makes it really interesting how I'm feeling sitting here. I'm waiting, I'm seeing if it's going to continue rallying up. Again, we've got a strong sell-off as I'm just thinking this out. And just like that, already pushed all the way back down to $31.38. Share values crept all the way up to $31.49 and then pummeled all the way back down to $31.29. They dropped 20 cents in like 3 to 4 minutes. I'm not letting go of my position. I'm holding on. 31.54, and I'm holding on for the rest of the day, as long as it takes. 11:18 a.m. We've got another hour and a half for it to get to that line. Okay, so the market was having a steady rally up, which started at around 10:15. It pushed all the way up to just about where I wanted to sell my position of 30 shares, to 31.54. And then, for whatever reason, it will not push past 31.50. It just keeps going up and down, sideways, and is now tightly consolidated within 20 cents per share. All right, I have made a new decision for my day. I am holding on to all 30 shares. Well, I'm holding on to all of my shares, but particularly these 30 that I now have, that I'm actually in profit right now with these 30 shares. But here's the thing. We are at 1 hour to the close of the market today, September 5th. Tomorrow is September 6th, and tomorrow C3.ai has its next earnings call. And historically, the past two earnings calls, after each earning call, the share values went on to gain $8 to $10 per share after each call during the past two calls. I don't know specifically why that happened, but what I do know is that C3.ai on the last two earnings calls, actually on the last three earnings calls, they have beaten their projected sales. I'm going to take a risk that C3.ai tomorrow is going to continue their trend and beat their earnings. And I'm going to gamble on the fact that that is going to have a favorable repercussion on share values. And I wouldn't be surprised if after tomorrow and during the rest of this week, I see shares of C3.ai increase by a couple of more dollars per share, at least. So I have decided that I am not going to sell my 30 shares, even at $31.54, even though I know that that would be a 1.5% increase. No, I'm going to hold my shares, and I'm going to hold them all the way through tomorrow and the remainder of the week. And so I'm just going to call it a day right now. With 1 hour to go in the market, I'm not going to make another play. I'm going to hold on till tomorrow and see what happens during the remainder of the week. So that is it for today, September 5th. This has been session 26 of my $1 million journey. I want to thank you for hanging out and being patient with me today as I figure this out, what I want to do today. I will be back tomorrow, September 6th, earnings day for C3.ai, and we will see how things play out with these 30 shares that I'm currently holding on to. If you have been liking my videos, if you have subscribed to the channel, I appreciate all that. If you're one of the people leaving comments, that's great too. I will be back here tomorrow morning, and I hope that you will join me. You can follow me in that session right over here.